There she is. The Queen of Albion. You've made it. Just like I always knew you would. It doesn't get any easier, though. You have a country to run now. And with Jasper busy in the sanctuary, you'll need a new personal aide. Someone who can keep you organized. Let me introduce you to...
Hobson. Hobson's the name, Your Majesty. May I say what an extraordinary honor it is to serve you? I have a vast wealth of experience, I assure you, though I have yet to experience vast wealth. That, Your Majesty, is an example of the sense of humor which will no doubt make our time together such a delight.
No doubt. Well, I'll leave you two to get better acquainted. I should begin preparations for the trial.
The trial, of course. The very first item on today's agenda. Among my other qualities, I am well versed in toadying, public relations, and time management. And I heartily believe the key to being a successful queen is following a well-scheduled royal agenda. If you will permit me, here are today's appointments. I'm sure you will do a marvelous job presiding over your brother's trial, which, as I said, will be your very first royal duty. Your subjects await in the throne room for what is sure to be an historic occasion, Your Majesty.
All stand to attention for the Queen of Albion. Logan, former King of Albion, you stand accused today of crimes against the kingdom and its people. Those who brought you to justice will now speak.
There's not a soul alive in the kingdom who hasn't suffered for his glory, and plenty who've died for it. I says, let him have some death of his own.
Look, I'm not one for lopping people's heads off, but we saw Major Swift executed like it was a bloody circus act. He deserves nothing less as far as I'm concerned.
But aren't we better than that? Isn't that why we fought to be here now? I've seen what Logan has done to this city. People starving to death, children forced to work. But killing him now won't solve anything.
It is not my place to decide his fate, but his betrayal condemned many of my people to death. He promised us salvation, and then left us to face the darkness alone.
I had good reason to break that promise, and I had good reason for the crimes you claim I committed. The day I returned to Albion, I received a visit from a blind seer, Teresa, our father's guide. She showed me the future of this kingdom. The darkness in Aurora is coming here, bringing death, destruction, the end of our way of life. The sacrifices I had to make, I did them to protect Albion. If a few had to suffer, it was to build an army. If a few had to die, it was to save a country. I have spent years preparing for this attack. Let me stand by your side now, and all my soldiers will be yours to command. Let us face the coming darkness, together.
If this is true, if it's really coming here, we are all in grave danger.
You have the power over life and death, sister. Now choose.
You can't escape punishment for what you've done, Logan. I sentence you to death.
The Queen has made her decision. Logan will pay for his crimes against the people of Albion with his life. Take aim! Fire! At ease!
You have fulfilled the first part of your destiny. You were little more than a child when you left the castle. You have become a hero, a leader, and now, finally, a monarch. But your journey is not yet done. Now you are queen, you can know the truth. Albion will soon be attacked, and the threat could not be greater. Darkness is coming to our land. It cannot be reasoned with, it cannot be halted. The ruler of Albion is all that stands between the world we inhabit and that darkness. That is why you had to take your brother's place. The course of history demands it. If you do not succeed, everything we know will come to an end.
Why didn't you tell me all this at the start? It was never about Logan, was it?
I told you what you needed to know, and I never spoke anything but the truth. With Logan on the throne, Albion would have been doomed. This much I know. Only with a hero wearing the crown do we stand a chance of survival.
And how do I stop it?
You won't. Its arrival is inevitable. 1 year from now, the darkness will fall upon Albion. All you can do is prepare, and hope to save as many of your people as you can. How you do so is up to you. 2 paths lie ahead. You may keep the promises you have made and be known as a benevolent ruler. But understand that doing so will leave little to spend on the kingdom's protection and may lead you to disaster. It is not easy to be popular and keep the treasury full, unless you are willing to sacrifice your personal wealth. But you may also choose to break those promises, to harm your people in order to save them. You will not lack the means to build the army you need, but you will be hated. This path will cast you in the role of a tyrant, as it did your brother. You have 1 year to do what Logan could not. Be the ruler that readies Albion for the greatest threat it has ever faced, and be the hero that can stand against it.
Your Majesty, I'm not sure what to say after receiving such news. The darkness that is coming. People won't understand what it means. Nobody could, without living through it first. We need to prepare. If we can't stop the attack from happening, we have to be ready when it comes. You will need to raise a fortune to pay for the army we'll need. Hobson will show you the treasury, and I'm sure he can explain just how to fill it.
Indeed I can.
Then I will leave you to it. Ben and I will begin recruiting and training soldiers at once.
If you will follow me, Your Majesty. Oh, how I have looked forward to this moment. This is it, Albion's royal treasury. The store of the kingdom's total wealth. It's, well, not as replete as one would like, but just imagine this room shimmering with hills, valleys, and plateaus of gold. A topography of riches going all the way up to the ceiling. It will require nothing less to build this army everyone is talking about. Which brings us to the second item on today's agenda, and one I'm personally very excited about. Setting the tax rate for the coming year. As you probably know, your brother was taxing the people rather heavily, and some say that this has led to poverty, starvation, and other societal ills. You have 3 clear choices, Your Majesty. 1, lower the tax rate, which one could argue would help the poor and the hungry, but would also leave the treasury in a miserable state. 2, maintain Logan's policies. Not a popular move with the people, but moderately popular with the treasury. And 3, and don't let my enthusiasm influence you in any way, raise the taxes even further. True, many will suffer in the short term, but we will be able to protect the kingdom and run our fingertips over vast amounts of gold in this very room. What will it be, Your Majesty? Very well, Your Majesty. Ah, an arousing sight, is it not? Breathe in that gilded air. Our tax collectors have not wasted any time carrying out your wishes. Certainly some people will starve to death, but it's a small price to pay for the security of our land. If you carry on being this decisive, the treasury will soon be overflowing. Perhaps you could even take a little of the money for yourself. Wink, wink. However you decide to proceed, you should acquaint yourself with the Royal Ledger. It is a logbook that allows the reigning monarch to make deposits and withdrawals from the treasury. A most useful financial tool. But my, look at the time. You really ought to attend to the next item on today's agenda. Reva has a most intriguing proposal for you in Bowerstone Industrial. Now, I know you have had your differences, but it is time to put those behind you and work together. Nobody can raise money like Reva can, I assure you. I have seen to it that your appearance among the populace is well publicized, so expect a crowd.
Don't tempt me, Reva.
Oh, happy day! Her Majesty the Queen of Albion graces us with her radiant presence. I knew last time we met that you would emerge victorious from such public sibling rivalry. And now, here I am, to assist you in filling your coffers till they are fit to burst. What better way to begin your reign than by reinstating one of my most successful policies? There is no greater waste than the idleness of our city's youth, but my employment scheme guarantees children of all ages will have something to occupy them, whilst ensuring our factories are properly manned.
It's just monstrous. Don't listen to him. You promised you would end child labor. Remember that promise now.
And what would you have us do with the snotty little indigents?
The only way Bowerstone is going to climb out of the gutter is through education. Nothing is more important to our future than that. Turn this factory into a school. Give the children of this city the chance they never had.
A school? Well, that's an original thought. Well, If you'd like to be known as a pauper monarch, then by all means, listen to her. Reaver Industries will abide by your decision.
The factory will be reopened as it was. We need all the workers we can get.
A most astute choice, Your Majesty. I shall begin the necessary modifications at once.
I will never forgive you for this. After all we've done, you're no different to Logan.
Welcome to the reopening of Reaver Industries Youth Center, where we care for your young 20 hours a day, teach them valuable skills, and ensure they never, ever get into trouble.
Remember, it's 15 minutes for lunch and
Don't just buy from anyone. Buy from me. Great food available. No cooking necessary.
All stand to attention. Today, you will decide what is to be done with the Bowerstone Old Quarter, site of the Battle for Albion. Paige will offer her proposal. Reaver shall stand against her.
You may speak.
Your Majesty, our victory came at a great cost to the city. You have done little to improve the lives of your citizens since you came to power. But it's not too late to start. I ask that the old quarter be rebuilt, and its former residents rehomed. You wouldn't just be helping those in great need. You'd be sending a message to your people. They're scared, Your Majesty. Let them know they can count on you.
Your Majesty, the old quarter was indeed devastated by your glorious triumph, but as its name subtly implies, it was old. The cost of rebuilding the area would be a colossal waste of money, and the people who called its decrepit shambles of streets and houses their home are better off without it. Besides, one must question what they have to offer our society. Why build homes for the inept and the unskilled? I recommend you reject Paige's proposal and keep the money for more deserving endeavors.
It was our actions that caused the devastation, Your Majesty. But the final decision rests with you.
Now is not the time to build houses. We have other priorities. The request is denied.
The Queen has reached her decision. The Old Quarter shall become a monument to our victory, and is to be left untouched.
Sanity prevails. And do not fret. I shall make sure there is no negative publicity attached to your decision.
You have turned your back on those who need you the most. I wonder if anything has really changed since we overthrew your brother.
Despite the heartless demands of the greedy few, we are proud to announce that the historic site of Bowerstone Old Quarter will forever be preserved as a monument to this city's greatest triumph. Join me, Reva, in saluting our proud heritage.
Is there a more beautiful spectacle than a big pile of gold? Forgive me the rhetorical question. In any case, we are certainly doing well, but we are still short of the target. As a matter of fact, our very first order of business might have a bearing on our financial situation. The time has come to decide the annual town guard budget. As you can imagine, the people like to complain about crime and the lack of safety on our streets, and are calling for more guards than your brother was ever willing to pay for. You have 3 choices, Your Majesty. Leave the budget as it is. After all, the people have grown accustomed to murder, theft, and contraband. Increase the budget and fill the streets with soldiers keeping the peace. A rather costly solution. Or take a more considered approach by lowering the budget. For what is the point of a safe, well-policed kingdom when it is too poor to protect itself from certain annihilation? Very wise, Your Majesty. Better to have a city full of criminals than a city full of very dead people. Let us now turn our attention to the rest of today's business. Here is the royal schedule I have prepared. As you can see, you have a busy day in the court, but a tremendously enjoyable one. Decoration is a passion of mine, and I simply cannot wait to see your choice. The interior designers await you in the throne room.